We are just so delighted to be joined right now by the Oakland County Commissioner of the 5th District. Her name is Kristen Nelson, and that is the 5th District is Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Waterford, West Bloomfield Township, and maybe a couple other little spots here and there. Did I get that right, Kristen?
You did. Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and small portions of Waterford and West Bloomfield.
Excellent. Good to see you again. We had a nice chat last time. Thank you for joining us again here on the MegaCast. What's going on? I like throwing that out. I always learn something new by not asking a specific question. What is the Kristen Nelson coronavirus headline of the day?
You know, it's just taking things day by day. Things day by day.
I like that. Yeah, a lot going on. The governor is going to talk later on today at 3 o'clock. I think it's going to be a biggie. We could be hearing about the auto plants and manufacturing opening up. We're hearing a lot of word about that. We just had a hairdresser on not too long ago, Natalie Sikora from the Studio Hair in Farmington Hills, and you know the hairstylists are ready to get back to work. The restaurants they're ready to open. They're making preparations. Do you think we're marching in the right direction? We're ready to get some of these businesses open?
I do think that we're marching in the right direction. I think we can all relate to feeling a little stir crazy. And I really do think that, we've made a lot of progress here in Oakland County and across our state. So I'm really eager to hear what our governor is going to share with us today for sure. For sure.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. In Oakland County, we've had some really great programs that have come up over the last week or so, not the least of which was an additional $12 million for businesses. So when the federal government handed Oakland County a check for $200 million, you guys turned right around and said, we're going to give $12 million of that right back to the businesses. I like that. Do you think that's going to help out a lot?
I really do. Actually, later on today, I'm going to be meeting with our cohort groups and getting this second round out and going. I know that there's been talks about putting additional money into our small businesses, but we first have to get over this leg of our first application process that we started on April. We had a deadline on April 6th. So we're moving along, getting as much money as we can out to our small businesses because we do know the importance and value of making sure that our small businesses can make it through this. So, with the money that we're putting out right now, we are very, very hopeful that we're going to be putting even more money into our small businesses throughout Oakland County.
Well, I that's great news. They need it. They're getting support. But we saw a report from SBAM, the Small Business Association of Michigan, that said 1 out of 7 small businesses are going to fail. So we know they need the help. They're having a really tough time. So every bit of help, it all helps. Every single piece of assistance and encouragement they can get is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So
one of the
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
No, I was going to share one of the other exciting things that we established last week is that the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, we adopted a resolution to create and form a social connectedness task force to identify solutions to reduce social isolation among our senior population here in Oakland County. Even prior to COVID-19, senior isolation has been a huge pressing health concern. And just with the outbreak of COVID-19, it's only exacerbated this problem. So I am super excited to charge forward with leading this task force, with all these changes that are taking place. I mean, a lot of us can take some of these changes for granted because we're already well equipped with technology. But, when we really take a look at it, we think about it, video conferencing is starting to replace our social interactions. Doctor's appointments are now taking place in our homes via, telemedicine. These services are being streamlined online. I mean, heck, you can even grocery shop and arrange for delivery to your homes. These are all, examples of the new norm. And one of the most important things that we have to keep in mind is we can't leave anybody behind as we move forward into, the age of technology even more. So we must do better at making sure that we are connecting our seniors to not just their loved ones and their families, but to their communities and services. And one way to really take a look at doing this right now, especially in light of the pandemic, is how can we bring technology to our seniors and not just bring technology, not just look at, accessing the smartphones and the tablets, the computers and the internet, but more importantly, teaching our seniors how to utilize these devices so they can, independently reach out and be a part of things happening across their communities that are now on a digital platform.
Well said, and not just the seniors. I know, I know we all need. It's all coming at us so fast. It's difficult keeping track of all this technology. I want to go back just one step because when I got my notes from the amazing producer Jeff on this show, and I looked at this, I was just about to ask you about your task force, and I saw Social Connectedness Task Force. I got to be honest, I thought that was a typo from Jeff because I'd never seen the term social connectedness. And then I didn't even think, Tyler, now look, you're the Michigan State grad. I went to Grand Valley, okay? But I didn't even know that connectedness was a word.
Oh, it is.
And he, of course, I didn't. So no offense, but Kristen, I had to look it up. I got it over here on my other computer. And we're going to add that. We have a vocabulary. This is exactly what it's for. We have the COVID-19 vocabulary. I'm going to hold it up here. We're going to go through it in a little bit for our viewers. We are going to definitely add social connectedness to the vocabulary. I looked it up. So here's what it says. By nature, we are often social creatures, and when we connect with friends and family through fun and engaging activities, we're actually helping to maintain our sense of well-being. Social connectedness is the measure of how people come together and interact. See, you learn something every day.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So that's cool. So you guys obviously are aware of social connectedness. Is this something that we're seeing trending around the country, and it's a popular thing right now as a term and obviously use it for your task force?
It is. Obviously, right now it's becoming a little bit more spotlighted in light of COVID-19. But as I've said, social connectedness, social isolation has been a huge pressing health concern for many years. And, given that our seniors are the most vulnerable, it is an area of honing in on, especially during times when, many of our aging adults don't know how to utilize that. And a lot of us take for granted. I said that in the sense of if we can a man on the moon, we could mostly teach grand use FaceTime. And
and just as unfortunately, just as you're saying that, Kristen, your internet is bogging down a little bit. We're losing your Zoom signal, so we're going to give it just a second to recuperate. I see you fine, but we're going to just give it a minute. There you are. You're back. So no, it is and so let me get to the point on this. What are you asking people to do? So are you asking people to just go out, pick up the phone, and call people? Is this a grassroots thing, or is it something that's more organized?
This task force has to think outside the box. We've got to get creative with not just short-term solutions, but also long-term solutions. I don't foresee this being a task force where we sit around and we talk and look at studies. I want action, and I want action immediately. We need to come up with these solutions, and we need to execute these solutions. It's a very unique time, just in light of a lot of the things that are transpiring, nationally. So we have a very small window to get things up and running now. And that is our goal. Like I said, there's a lot of initiatives that are taking place right now across the country with doing like helplines and, reaching out to, our vulnerable populations. So how can we take that a step further? I think it's great and it's wonderful to have these helplines and to have these, support services, but what can we do to really capitalize in on having our seniors take the initiative and feel the independence of themselves, of learning how to, adapt to a lot of these changes that are transpiring right now that's going to be brand new to them. So, doing some research leading into the formation of this task force, one of the things I found is that there really hasn't been a lot of things done with technology. There's been a lot done with outreaching with social workers. And like I said, those helplines. But as we look into the future, and there's so many unknowns with what the future holds, especially with our vulnerable population, such as our seniors. We know how vulnerable they are to the virus. We don't know what timelines really look like, presently, let alone, 6 months into the future. So how can we be proactive and start developing these solutions that are going to be not just short term, but long term?
Well, Kristen, when you get an agenda, when you come back on the show, because I'd like to hear what you're going to do. Are you going to, maybe you're going to be setting up some Zoom meetings, some conferencing, some technology, get people interacting and training, whatever it is, let us know. We'd like to hear about it. And then in the meantime, we're just going to encourage people to pick up the phone and call somebody, right? Offer a friend a helping hand. That's really what it always has been and always will be all about, right?
Absolutely. And with that being said, too, make sure that you're taking moments in your day to check in with yourself. Like I said, things are changing so rapidly. Days are being filled. Days sometimes are blurring together. But most importantly, take moments to take care of yourself. And obviously, as you said, reach out to your family and your friends. I just wanted to share, last month, the Department of Health and Human Services launched a statewide warm line to help those, struggling with some mental health needs during this time. They're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Their phone number is 888-733-7753.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. We'll get that up on our website, 888-733-7753. That is a statewide mental health number. And why not pick it up and call and take a minute for yourself? Kristen Nelson, Commissioner of the 5th District, Oakland County, thank you very much for joining us. Good to see you. And you got to work on that energy level a little bit. You need to turn that up just a little bit more. No, I'm just kidding. You're like me. You're like all fired up all the time. I know you are.
Life is good.
It is. Good to see you again.